New hotel room with a kitchen. I'm not gonna unplug the refrigerator so you may hear a buzzing noise. Let's get right into the video. You cannot have a relationship without trust. That's my theme of this entire video. That's what I'm going to show in this video on Chelsea's interview she did with a YouTuber by the name of Sarah Elise. I was gonna cut up clips of what Chelsea is saying inside of the video, but when I looked and saw that Sarah Elise only has 152 subscribers, I didn't want to do anything to take away from someone not going to directly to her channel to listen to the entire interview. So, link will be in the top comment. Link will also be in the description. Go help Sarah Elise out to grow her channel. I think it's amazing to get an interview with a big person that was on a reality show when you're just starting off on YouTube like that. So make sure you guys go and show her some love. You guys have to keep in mind that the entire season is over with, including the reunion show. So Chelsea has seen everything in its entirety and how she was portrayed online. So you would think if you're gonna do a full over 1 hour interview, this is your chance to clear up every single thing. And what Chelsea basically did in this interview, she downplayed it and said that they only had 2 arguments. She downplayed it and said that Jimmy broke up with her because she revealed what happened with his girlfriend. She also revealed Johnny, one of the only men who had a successful marriage on the show, was her number 4 choice. They were talking, and Johnny broke it off because Chelsea was close friends with her ex-boyfriend. That's important to remember. On the show, we saw 3 arguments, major arguments. I have a video breaking those down. Please check out that video. The 3 major arguments were what Jimmy said to AD about her buttocks on the beach the first night they all hung out. The second major argument was when Jimmy met her friends and they were sitting around chilling, and that night they got into an argument about him not kissing and showing affection, blah, 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 blah. And the third argument was about Jimmy going out. On the first argument, she didn't really say too much about what took place in that situation. You gotta understand, this entire interview is to show I'm not a paranoid or insecure woman, and that there are valid reasons for me to act the way I did. So to skip the entire first section and don't really say too much about it at all, you're just telling the audience that there are major signs of insecurity inside of you. When we move on to the second argument, I mean this with respect. I kind of hold this on the interviewer instead of Chelsea. Like, I wish I can interview people because I'm so detailed and fact-based. I'm not going to let someone say a generic statement. Or if someone says a claim, I'm going to dig deeper into that claim to try to see where is this basis coming from. And in the show, we saw Jimmy come down those stairs to meet her friends. Also in this interview, she said Jimmy never wanted to meet her friends, but Jimmy met her friends on camera. That's kind of weird. Jimmy came down the stairs and kissed her, hugged her, showed love and affection, told her friends how much he liked Chelsea. And they got into an argument and she said Jimmy did none of those things. So if I was interviewing her, I would say, you know, one of the major bases of what the audience saw on Netflix is like, it looked like you were saying things that we didn't see evidence of, or it was true. So could you explain, like, what made you say that Jimmy didn't do these things that we saw him doing? The interviewer never probed or asked those kind of things, so she just kind of blew over that argument or that portion in the interview, which is a major thing because this, again, one of 3 major arguments that we saw them have on camera, and she skipped the first one. She's not really asked about the second one. So the majority of the focus was on her third argument she had with Jimmy about having a female friend. One of the good things I liked about the interview with Sarah is that she did ask Chelsea, she asked her sort of like, you know, we understand that you outed that they had a previous sexual encounter before. And she kind of pointed out how, like, you know, that girl came on the show on her own. That's true. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like some accountability has to be taken on Jimmy's part and on Jimmy's friend part because they decided to go on the show. But at the same time, I still think it's wrong to out something after you told your partner. The important thing is you told your partner that you would not do that. Again, I would take into consideration that there's alcohol, there's drinking, and there's high intense emotions. So something like that could come out. But again, we look at one single incident and we don't look at everything in its totality. If it were one single incident that she just came out and blurted that out, I could understand, and I could be on Chelsea's side and go like, hey man, that's her real life, man. She up there talking about her life. She ain't worried to think about the cameras. But I have to take into consideration the small amounts of vindictiveness showed when Chelsea feels that someone is doing her wrong. Tiny amounts of vindictiveness. When Jimmy finally met Jessica, they did the standard hug thing, you know what I'm saying? The tiny vindictiveness in Chelsea, she purposely made her way over Jimmy to embrace Trevor. And it came across to me like you're trying to make Jimmy upset because you kind of feel upset and you want him to feel that sting. You know? The tiny vindictiveness of Chelsea to make it a point when Jimmy breaks up to her to say it over and over again. Hey, I get that you're just trying to protect yourself from looking like how you look on TV. Like, Chelsea throws shots. Chelsea did things on this show to show if she feels that someone wrongs her, she has no problem with doing, quote unquote, a little snapback, you know, as retribution. So when I take those things into consideration, I can't come out here and just say it just inadvertently blurted out. Possibly in her brain, it got to the point where she maybe wanted to blurt it out, but she's feeling upset. She feel like Jimmy's not listening to her, and she feel like Jimmy wants to put her into this life that she don't want to live with him having a girl as a friend. Another thing that Chelsea said on this statement, she said that this girl shouldn't have involved herself in our life. That was a powerful statement to show how Chelsea really feels, because what do you mean when you say that someone involved themselves in your life? Again, when I hear a claim, I would like the claim to be backed up with evidence. Do you mean she involved herself in her life? Because as you stated, her and Jimmy would FaceTime and her and Jimmy would text. How is that involving herself in your life if that's what friends do? And in my subjective opinion, I think this comes across bad only when it's the opposite sex. I'm going to go into details and say a specific thing. It has to be about the opposite sex. If Jimmy had a homeboy who hit him up, what's up, pick up his phone, FaceTime, talk to him or whatever, and then throughout the day, a couple texts here, you watching the game or blah, 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 random talking, whatever, I don't think that there would have been an issue. I think the issue was stemming from some insecurity that you guys have been intimate in the past. That in itself is completely rational, normal. The problem is you're not saying these things, and you told him it was fine, and you also told her it was fine, and that you will have no problem with you being close friends with them. Think about it this way. In this interview, Chelsea said that Jimmy would FaceTime and text her all day. That can only lead down one or two paths. Jimmy is doing this behind her back, and if he's doing this behind her back, how would she know unless she's going through Jimmy's shit? That would be bad. That would be a lack of trust. Or Jimmy is doing this in her face. If Jimmy is doing this in her face, then that means that Jimmy doesn't see anything wrong with it. Jimmy would not see anything wrong with texting this person or FaceTiming this person if his girlfriend told her that she has no problem with them being friends. Once you tell someone you have no problem with them being friends, Jimmy's going to look at this girl the same way he look at his homeboys. My homeboy texts me, I text him back. My homeboy FaceTime me, I FaceTime him back. If a man is cheating on you, he's not going to be talking to this person in your face like that. Jimmy is acting on what Chelsea told him in the relationship. She's just a regular friend. So regular friends, we talk, we chat. Be very careful with my words in that I'm not saying that that's right. I'm saying what led Jimmy to do it. If she didn't sneak and find out her own, if he's doing this in her face, Jimmy has been led to believe that this is A-okay. Now, I've had all of these same problems that Jimmy has had inside of a relationship, right? And what I used to do when I would date, I would tell my friends that are women issues. Like if a bad issue came in our relationship, I would go to them, lean on them, have somebody to talk to. And I just realized in my life that I didn't feel like that was a good thing to do. I felt like if you are with this person, this is your new best friend. If we're going to have this bond, we're going to have this trust, we're going to talk about everything with each other, we're going to solve it with each other, and we're going to keep people out of our personal business. Crazy shit is, when I would do this, I would be the only person doing this. I mean, we make a pact to do this, But then we get into an argument and we get into a situation, they're out telling their friends. It gives you a sense of relief, and since friends a lot of times side with you, it kind of makes you feel justified on what you're doing. So if this other person is talking to their friends, such as Chelsea admitted, what we're going to talk about, when Jimmy went out that night, she was on the phone with Lar. So she gets these off her chest. She talks to her friends. The people I was with talking to their friends and their partner, I had no outlet. I wasn't talking to any of my friends to keep them out of my business. I wasn't talking to my mom, my dad. It's just me feeling confused because I'm inside of an argument with no outlet at all. So I kind of felt like I went from one extreme of saying everything to my friends to the other extreme of not saying anything at all. And to be honest, I really don't have the right answers. I don't know. I know people think we get on the camera as a YouTuber, we got all these answers. We're just normal people. I don't know the right thing to do when it comes to your relationship and with friends. I thought it would be no one says anything. But then I found out with me not saying anything, a relationship would end and my friends would be totally shocked. They thought I was happy and love and everything was perfect. And they only felt that way because I never said anything until the relationship was over. And once the relationship was over, I unleashed the things that happened. And they're like, oh my God, I had no idea you was going through that. So you guys tell me in the comment section, what's the best solution that you have found with telling your friends certain things about your relationship? I'm curious to know. But here comes the lack of trust. And it's going to be a lack of trust on Jimmy's part and also Chelsea's part. Oh my God, you had one simple job to do. You had one simple job to do. Chelsea, America thinks that you're insecure and almost batshit crazy. So when you say a claim that like Jimmy is going out all the time and Jimmy is on camera looking confused and saying, I only went out with my friends once and it was for 1 hour. That is a claim. You had one simple job and it would have fucked Jimmy the fuck up. All you had to do was list other reasons he went out. That's a powerful sentence. If you went into detail and say he went out that night, did this, he did this, he did this, because there is no middle ground. It's either black or white. If he went out multiple times and he got on national television, look you in your eyes and said, I have only went out with my friends once and it was for 1 hour, then Jimmy's a fucking asshole. Jimmy is an asshole and there's no way around it. Why would you didn't have to say, you could have said, I rarely been going out or it ain't been that much. You could have left it subjective, but he specifically said he only went out with his friends one single time. And I just don't understand how a whole entire season can go, a whole reunion. You didn't say it on a reunion. You didn't give a detail in this interview. You didn't say anything to Jimmy's rebuttal when he said it directly to your face. So with all of these chances for you to have and you don't say anything at all, you have to understand how it could lead the public to think you're exaggerating, you're lying, you are insecure. Just say, when did Jimmy go out with his friends other than this one time? I promise you that one sentence will throw it back on him. However, she reveals that the night Jimmy went out with his friends, he was at his place and he was on FaceTime with her looking sleepy in the bed as if he's about to go to bed. Next thing you know, she get a call that he is out with his friends. Oh, this is some juicy shit right here, boy, because this was the trust come in there. And I'm going to throw a real life example inside of this of something that happened with me, right? To say I don't understand Chelsea would be an understatement. I completely understand it. I was just FaceTiming you. You was just laying in your bed at your crib and now you're out. But trust, a healthy, good relationship and trust is believing your partner. People act like that is so scary. And if it is, you shouldn't be in a relationship with this person. Once Jimmy tell you, yo, you know, I was laying in bed. I really didn't feel like going anywhere, but my friends hit me up and I was like, all right, cool. I'll go out for a little bit. Jimmy gave evidence to show he really felt that way. If Jimmy was lying to Chelsea to pretend like he's sleepy, but he really wanted to go out, he would have got twisted, wasted, drunk, hung out all night. If Jimmy goes to this place, he only stays an hour. You know that because he left there and he came and he was chilling with you the rest of the night. That is evidence to Jimmy saying he didn't feel like going anywhere. Why don't you believe that? Because you don't trust him. He gave tangible evidence that he did not want to go out. And people do that. How many times you watching this had your plan to stay in the crib and chill, and then you change your mind to go out? He had one drink. He came and chilled with you, and you started an argument about it that blew up in your face. You had no trust. Now, I'm going to show y'all that Jimmy didn't trust Chelsea, so neither of them needed to be in a relationship together. Pause, and I'm going to inject something that happened to me in real life because I had to be honest with myself and admit that there was no trust on my part as well, too. I had an ex-girlfriend, and she kept throwing allegations at me every day. And when I first got into a relationship with her, she had told me about how many men cheated on. No, she said every single man cheated on her in her life. I felt horrible for her. You know, I got that little Marshall complex when I can come fix somebody and we'll be great and I can show her I'm a great guy and we'll live happily ever after. I got a little bit of Marshall in me, guys. I admit that. But it got so bad in my relationship. I'm with her every single day. Either I got my children or I'm going to her house or she's coming to my house. We with each other every single day. We with each other all the freaking time. So this one Sunday comes up to where I don't have my kids on the weekend. I'm not with her. She's not with me. We on the phone. She's cleaning up her house. I'm cleaning up my house. And I'm like, yeah, house clean. I'm finna sit here and watch some Netflix. I'm about to chill by myself. I get a phone call about 15 minutes after I got off the call with her. A group of people asked me would I do a documentary exonerating their friend who's being called a scammer or whatever. They don't live in my area at all. So they tell me that they are right in my area because I planned to stay home and chill and I did not want to go anywhere. But these people from out of town are like right now in my area. It's a great time to just knock it out the bud, discuss the case, see what we're going to do. So I tell them I picked the closest place to my crib, which is a little cheap Mexican restaurant about 0.1 mile away. Just really go across the state. I'm right there. So we're meeting there, right? And we're discussing the case. We're discussing details. And I tell them, I say, hey, look, the way I do documentaries, if I dig into your friend and I find out your friend really did do these things, I'm still going to put out the documentary. And he's just going to be shown to be a piece of shit. If he didn't do it, I'm going to take the evidence. I'm going to show that he's being accused of something for no reason. I just need you to understand that if I do this, I'm like a hitman. You can't call it off. If I find out your friend is in fact dirty, then I get a text from my girlfriend. And my girlfriend says, what bitch you out eating with? I had to take my phone and show everybody around. Hey, say hi to my girlfriends. Hey, everybody say hi to my girlfriend. I had to take that and show everybody there. And this is why I think I lied to myself. I said to myself, I jumped on this call and went across the street to meet these people, and I didn't tell my girlfriend because it's just, I'm a grown-ass man, and I can change my mind to say I want to lay here and then just go meet somebody for an hour and come back. There's no harm in that. The reality of what I was lying to myself about was I could have easily have texted my girlfriend that it would take me 15 seconds. I didn't text her that because I didn't trust her. I did not trust her to believe me. I felt that she would have blew up in this situation had I told her that. I didn't realize this at first, but I had to go back and do some deep thinking and say like, yeah, because if I was in a loving relationship, as soon as I grabbed my keys, I would have been like, hey, I'm about to meet these people right quick, go over here, then I'll be back chilling at my crib. I didn't say that because I knew deep down inside from the previous insecure actions the girl I was dating did that it would be an issue with me doing something as simple as having a business meeting. That's what happened with Jimmy. And I hope Jimmy admits that one day. I hope Jimmy isn't running around lying to himself and saying like, hey, it was no big deal. I jumped up and went out with my friends. I only hung out for 1 hour. Yes, those things took place. Yes, those things happened. But the reason Jimmy did not shoot that quick text to Chelsea is from her previous insecure actions of always accusing him of doing things that he's not doing. So to lessen the headache because he's doing something innocent, he didn't put out that call. All right, here's a tough pill to swallow right here, right? Had to come back and make this for the end of my video. This is the toughest pill to swallow. If Jimmy's frustrated because allegations are coming and he has done nothing wrong. And then from his own lack of trust in Chelsea, he does go out. I don't care if it's for 1 hour or if it's for 10 minutes. He goes out. Your lack of trust has now caused a tangible occurrence for this person who's already insecure and will go off nothing to have something. So what you did is that nothing they was reaching for, you gave them a focal point. He is capable of doing this. I was worried and had no reason. Now I see what he's capable of. That's on Chelsea's end. Then you go back to Jimmy's end and he's just like, oh my God, I never do anything. She just can't be happy. She always got to find something wrong. And then now she's going to hone in on this right here. That's what happened to that relationship right there. You didn't mean to. It didn't matter how it came out. At the end of the day, you provided something for that person to now say this about you. And I feel like the reason Chelsea was in her emotions because it was the same night Jeremy was creeping away. And she's looking at a negative thing instead of a good thing, because when Jeremy was creeping away on Laura, talking to old girl to 5:30 in the morning, and she's on the phone with Laura, fueling that shit in her head, your man on that same night, go back and watch this interview and how she phrased it. She phrased it like, oh, this the same night Jimmy was cheating around on Laura. So me and Laura on the phone, and Laura man cheating, and my man out with Jessica. He wasn't out with Jessica. Laura man stayed out at 5:30 in the morning. Your man went out for 1 hour, had one drink, and came back home to you. So you got two people in a relationship who do not trust each other. Trust does not have to be infidelity. Trust does not have to be cheating. I do think that on Chelsea's part, she doesn't all the way trust Jimmy with cheating, but trust are other subjects too. Jimmy doesn't trust his girlfriend that he could be in regular everyday life situations and there's not going to always be an incident that arrives from this. It was doomed from the start. It was doomed from the start, and it all comes back to trust. It all comes back to communication and being honest about your feelings to your partner. Going back to the beginning of the video when I said that, Chelsea said that Johnny was her fourth choice, and then Johnny didn't want to be with her because she was close friends with her ex. Johnny did the right thing. He saw a good person in the pods, but he saw a situation he would not be comfortable with, and he told her up front he wouldn't be comfortable, so he couldn't move forward. That's all Chelsea had to do. All Chelsea had to do is say that I'm not comfortable with you being this close of friends with a girl that you hooked up with. I know y'all friends. I know y'all probably don't look at each other like that at all. But I apologize. This is something that I didn't expect in a relationship, and I can't get over. The only thing crazy about that is that Chelsea is friends with guys, she admitted in this interview, and being friends with guys, she's friends with her ex. I never understood the double standards that people have in these situations. You know, you're friends with your ex and you contacted your ex the moment you got back. You guys are good friends. I had a woman that whenever we single, you know what I'm saying, we'll hook up with each other. We'll sleep around with each other. If I'm single, she's single. Really great friend. Really great conversation. We always meet up, go out and eat, and then we'll laugh and discuss our dating situations and how messed up my dating situation is, how messed up her dating situation is. Have fun, go, hook up. But when we get into relationships, I don't talk to her at all. I don't communicate. And we have that pact. We laugh, we joked about it. We're like, hey, I guess we're going to be doing this until we get into a relationship again with someone. So she is happily married right now. I don't have any communication with her. I could not be happier in life for her because I know that's what she ultimately wanted. She wanted to be happy. And when I'm in a relationship, she is really, really happy for me. But the kind of situationship we had, we knew how it would make our partners feel. If I tell somebody, yeah, we have sex all the time when we're single, you know what I'm saying? But it's cool, we're going to be buddy. Like, in certain situations, you have to look at the real world and how it could make somebody feel. Why would I stick around with someone that I've been hooking up with whenever we're single, introduce that person to my girl? You know, you know what I'm saying? Because she's gonna feel like she's gonna feel like the other lady shake her hand and go, "Hey, you know I love my boy. I want to see him happy. So I'm glad you guys are together, and I'm glad you're making him happy. But I just hope you know from our past, anything goes wrong, I'll be riding that thing again." So putting myself in somebody else's shoes, you know, is certain people, you can't be friends with everybody else. Everybody want to be friends with everybody in the whole freaking world. Gotta go back to old days. Grandma and grandpa stayed together because they ain't have all of these dang friends. I've had people tell me that they are totally fine if I had hooked up with somebody and then like they text, we cool or whatever. As long as it's not excessive, right? I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable just sitting there laughing and kikiing and stuff with somebody that I be hooking up with like that. And this is the person I'm supposed to be building to knock out everybody I call my close friend. The person you're dating is supposed to morph and be your best friend in the world, your number one. All the motherfuckers that was there before, they all take a secondary seat. So when I get into relationships and I tell somebody I got a friend that's a female or a woman, we haven't hooked up. We have only been friends. I look at them like a sister to me. These are my real friends. And I've made multiple mistakes in my past to where, like the girl I told y'all about, which I had to come back and realize how would she know that I was gone that quickly? And I realized this motherfucker put the shared location in my phone, which showed a deep lack of trust. But I stopped being friends with someone who was my friend, who never did anything wrong, who were buddies, who's married, just because this person felt uncomfortable. That was the wrong thing to do. So I know, like I said, I would never do that shit again inside of a relationship. These are my people the same way as these guys are my people. And I end this video saying this right here. I'm going to say something that may be controversial, but it's some real shit. Looks matter. Oh, y'all ain't going to admit that. Y'all ain't secure enough in your emotions to admit that looks matter. How can I have a friend who, you know what I'm saying, I don't see it this way. I love my friend, but society may deem my friend not to be attractive. She's a not attractive person by societal standards. And then I got a smoking hot friend, very beautiful, who will turn heads every time she walks down the street. I could talk to the one that society deems less attractive most of the time and talk to her a little bit less. Then I get into situations and they always got a problem with her. They always got a problem with the one that looks attractive. How is that not a major sign of being insecure? So it's actually not even 2 levels, it's 3 levels. You can have friends of your same sexes, good level, totally safe. Friends of the opposite sex, but not so good looking, intermediate safe. And then you have friends of the opposite sex that are gorgeous, and those are the ones that people have problems with because they see this person, they see that this person is attractive. Women have no problems looking at other women's looks. And not only is this person attractive, because you guys are real buddies, real friends, there's this great bond that you see. And you don't see the things that make this person only your friend and not more than a friend. Those conversations never come up. Well, if y'all get along so great and y'all like each other like that, y'all look like, why don't y'all date? There are major reasons why that you aren't dating that person, but those points are never focused on. It's just what they see that y'all always good. You're gonna always be good with your friend because you don't have a heavy investment. That's why you have arguments with the person you're dating, because there's such a heavy investment involved with sharing your entire life with someone. And it's not with friendships. With friendship, you pick up the phone, girl, you saw that show last night? Yeah. Boom, you get in, you get out, boom. You're not going to have these big arguments. So it puts on a facade that you guys are always perfect and it's always amazing. But nah, that's just my nigga. That's just my buddy. You know what I'm saying? But you my girl. You're my best friend. You're the one I love. You're the one who I want to spend the rest of my life with, and we ride out this thing together. And when you have that kind of commitment to that person, both parties need to have trust and then sit down and come into an amicable agreement, a real agreement, not something you're saying so you don't look like you're insecure, but you're really insecure about the situation. A real agreement, and nip this thing in the bud. That's my video. Catch you guys next time.